gently into your
Uh, somehow we got the combination. They got the. That's what I'm saying. What seed are you? What? I was like, mm,
do this the other way. Now, I don't think that this is real.
No sound.
Can't hear me. Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now, right? Yes, okay, amazing. Okay, so Trump, I'm not going to play any more videos because it looks like the videos are causing havoc. So Trump is on a mission around these tariffs, and now the thing that's happening is Canada has started to respond. And Canada came out and said, okay, well, if Trump announced Canada tariffs, we're going to announce tariffs on Trump. And he's not the only one that responded. The Mexican president also responded to Trump's tariffs, and now everyone's asking, well, hold on, China going to respond to Trump's tariffs. And so you're getting this like system. You're getting this like system that's going on, and basically you're starting to get these trades where the US is importing tariffs, is putting tariffs, and the other countries are responding. Now, if you want more insight into that, I want to bring on a friend of mine. He's 15 years old. Okay? 15 years old, and he knows probably more about tariffs than all of us. So, look at him on. Aman, welcome, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you for having me on, Ron.
Amazing. So listen, brother, you know a little bit about tariffs, right? You know you've done a bit of homework about tariffs. Why is the market so scared of these tariffs?
So, firstly, tariffs are generally used to make imported goods more expensive, which gives domestic producers a competitive advantage by discouraging imports, and tariffs aim to reduce trade deficits. But it obviously goes without saying that it's generally inflationary and can also lead to retaliation from other countries. Like you just mentioned, Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau came out recently to $115 billion. And now tariff announcements and implementations, they create volatility and uncertainty in financial markets, which the financial markets don't like uncertainty. So that just causes prices to drop. Now, crypto, it likes to front run events, like when Trump won the presidential election. For a few weeks before that, Bitcoin's price was rising. We went from $53,000 all the way to $70,000, and then it was the election itself that brought us up past the previous all-time high. So now you have to wonder: is crypto front running a dump when the futures market opened later on today? And if it is, that also means that it's more likely that we put in the low in the crypto market before the stock market itself does. So I think we definitely need to watch out for that, because with tariffs being implemented, it historically has caused inflation. Uh, in this
Yeah,
case, it would cause inflation in the US.
yeah, the
Sorry.
market's scared of inflation, and they know that if there's inflation, Powell won't be able to reduce interest rates, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly right. So, guys, this is a friend of mine. His name is Aman. If you guys want to see his channel, he actually has a YouTube channel where he actually makes amazing crypto content and charting content. If you want to follow him, it's actually very cool. Like, I've been watching his journey. There's a link below. Like, just go to the link below, and there is a link to his channel. Just go and sign up to his channel and watch the amazing videos that he actually makes. He does amazing charting videos. Aman, what kind of other videos do you do on your channel?
So I focus mainly on charting videos and TA, but I like to, in the video, summarize what's going on in the macroeconomic landscape while looking at the charts, and then explain how it's affecting what's actually happening. And then I've also started to do more podcasts on my channel. I recently had a crypto VC and digital asset manager on a podcast, and we just discussed what's going on in crypto, what's next for the crypto and stock markets in 2025.
Amazing. So, guys, there's a link below. Follow Aman. Aman, thanks, buddy. If you
Thank you
guys
for
want,
having me on.
he's 15 years old, guys. 15 years old. The guy knows a lot about tariffs. He knows a lot about everything. Anyway, let's carry on. So now there is a trade war going on, and I mean, it sounds like Trump is kind of saying that this thing ain't going to end pretty soon, because he's saying the pain from tariffs will be worth the price, and that means that early indications showing a long multi-front trade war ahead, which was actually Trump's strategy when he actually came in. The thing is, I agree with Patrick Bet-David. Mexico and Canada are about to fuck around and find out. 77% of Canada's exports go to the United States. 84% of Mexico's exports go to the United States. Both of them rely on the United States, right? And he's saying quick tip to Trudeau and Sheinbaum. He's like, basically, read the art of the deal, take a cold shower, call Donald Trump and apologize, and then pray. Pump's arguing that tariffs don't cause inflation. I think in the long term, he's right. Unfortunately, in the short term, I think he's wrong, and tariffs do cause inflation. A lot of people are also saying, though, that actually, before we get that, I want to show you some other stats here, because I think that this is quite important. So Mexico exports a lot to the US. Canada exports a lot to the US, but the US doesn't export a lot from Mexico and doesn't export a lot from Canada. So them putting tariffs on the US is basically nothing. The US is pretty much bullying them. A lot of the thinking around this is around beating Canada into submission so that Trump can actually make Canada the 51st state of the United States. Now, I don't know if it's a serious thing, but people are really starting to think that this is serious now. So maybe Trump is trying to make Canada the 51st state. Either way, the market is really scared. I think what we have to do now is you have to watch the US futures. There is a chance that when the US market opens tonight, the futures are going to get smashed because the markets are going to respond to this, right? People say, someone says, okay, the audios are not working every single time I play a video. Can you hear me now? Hardest, can you hear me? Okay, so you guys can hear me. Okay, so I can't actually play the sound. But anyway, Canada thinks that this could be around being the 51st state. Um, um, so yeah, so that's the 51st day thing. Also, remember that Trump actually did bring in tariffs in the previous time that Trump came in, and that actually did take down the markets when this actually happened. So you've got to think about why this is actually happening. I think it is part of Trump's mega plan to put tariffs on other countries. But in the last Trump administration, he put up tariffs, but then he actually reduced the federal income tax from 39 to 37. So kind of like he taxed the outside money. He taxed the outside money, and when it came into the United States, he reduced the tax in the United States. He's also on this big mission to reduce government spending, and Elon's doing an amazing job. I don't know if you guys read this, but he says reducing the federal deficit from 2 trillion to 1 trillion requires an average of $4 billion a day in projected spending cut from now to September. That would still result in a 1 trillion deficit, but economic growth should be able to match that number, which means no inflation in 2026. And Elon is actually making a lot of progress, actually cutting the spending with his Doge. So I think keep watching this. You can see they're cutting like billions and billions and billions every single day. And so I think Trump's on a mission. He's going to increase tariffs, which initially are going to increase prices. But then he's going to reduce taxes and maybe even eliminate taxes completely. He said he might even eliminate taxes. And then also he's going to reduce government spending. So there's going to be pain, but I think that Trump is working with a plan. I think Trump prides himself on the moves of the US market, right? Anyway, let's talk about more important things. Let's talk about the altcoins. Let's talk about what's going on in the altcoins. It's a capitulation. There is no other word to say. There's just no other word that I can use to describe this but capitulation. It is bad. If you're holding altcoins, and specifically if you're holding meme coins, it's bad. And I think that's one of the lessons of actually holding meme coins, and why I told everybody, get out of your meme coins. Remember I told you to get out of your meme coin? We still got the chart here. This is the PopCat chart. So get out. You can see it was almost the top. That's now down 90%. And there's a reason, because I felt that this correction was actually coming. But what I didn't feel like is that there would be an absolute capitulation. And that's exactly what we're getting now. This guy says, genuinely the worst altcoin capitulation I've seen in 7 years plus. BTC might even close the day green, but many crypto favorites are down 25 to 40%. What you're getting now is you're getting a decoupling. And that's the worst part of this capitulation, because you have Bitcoin at 100,000, but you have the altcoins down. And in fact, if you look at January, there's a stat here which I saw, which said something like, hold on, let's see if we can get down. Bitcoin was up 7.54% in January, but the median altcoin on Binance is down 25%. And that's the problem. The problem is that you've got Bitcoin up and you've got the altcoins down, and that's causing max pain in the altcoins. And that max pain is causing the retail investors to get shaken out. You can see that here, retail is completely flushed out of Bitcoin, and the institutions are the ones buying Bitcoin. And then if you look at it here, pretty much it shows you that the retail investors are panic selling and the large investors are actually buying. And so this is a situation where you're getting retail absolutely capitulating and selling out. Now, the reason why I say retail and not altcoins is because who's buying the altcoins? The retail investors. Who's buying Bitcoin? The institutional investors. And so this is designed to destroy the retail investor. And that's pretty much what's happening, as I said to you. The thing is, don't panic just yet. And I'll tell you why don't panic just yet. Because here are some tweets from 2021. January 2021. And people saying, no alt season this time. Dump the garbage. There is no alt season. Dead cat bounce for altcoins going to die, and there'll be no alt season. It seems that there'll be no alt season this year, only Bitcoin season. Bitcoin has doubled in price while the alt season. These are all posts from 2021. And so I know that sometimes we forget. But this is 2021, and it sounded and it felt exactly the same. So I know a lot of you weren't here in 2021. I can tell you that this is exactly what it felt like and what it looked like in 2021. And if we look at seasonality on our side, you can see that this is the chart on which Bitcoin usually bounces, and it usually bounces up in January. So could it be the end of the cycle? It could be. We'll talk about that tomorrow or Tuesday. We'll do a show about whether or not this is the end of the cycle. And it's possible that it could be. But I don't think it is. I think there may be some more alt season. There might be some more Vuma in the alt season. And I think it's actually going to start happening. And because of that, because I think that, I do think that this is the capitulation. This is like the final capitulation before the move up. And I don't know how long it's going to last. It could last a week, it could last a month. We could get one other leg down before everything starts moving. But this is really max pain for altcoin holders. And the reason why it's max pain for altcoin holders is because most people are holding actual Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is actually going up. Altcoins and Bitcoin is the one going up, while the retail investors are the ones holding the altcoins, and that's actually going down. And that's pretty much what's going on here. So that's what I think. I think we are in the midst of a capitulation. If you're feeling it, you're not alone. Everybody's feeling it. I know people that have basically fallen out of altcoins, got destroyed, got liquidated, got mentally destroyed out of these altcoins. Never want to be back in crypto ever again. But I mean, there's also hope here, right? Like, we did see an ETH breakout on Friday, and if it wasn't for the tariffs, maybe this would have been the ETH breakout that would have brought on the alt season, right? Also in the charts, if you look at the charts, is the head and shoulders on ETH that actually could actually play, the inverse head and shoulders on ETH, which could actually play out. Also, as Pentoshi says, this is where the rally occurred from in the last cycle. So we got to this level, and this is where the rally occurred from the last cycle when you look at the Bitcoin versus ETH ratio. So lots of good things around ETH. Also, lots of inflows into ETH for a change. So all of a sudden, ETH starting to get a bid. And also, you're getting. I'm monitoring the ETF inflows. So I'm monitoring them relative to total market cap. Right now, Bitcoin's got a 0.1% since the 20th of January, and ETH's got a 0.02. So ETH's lagging on an ETF inflows. But when this ratio actually changes, that's when we're actually going to strike and say that we do have an ETH altcoin season actually happening. All right, so that's ETH altcoins. I want to talk a little bit about this. Rune has been one of the tokens that I have had a big position in. And as you know, it looks like Rune has also had a capitulation event. Just have a look at that. So $1.39. This is a crazy thing. So this is what I said was the Rune capitulation event. I tweeted about this on Friday, and I said, or was it yesterday or Friday? I said, this is the yesterday. I said, this is a capitulation event. Either they made a plan and the protocol continues to run, or they accept its fate. Now, let me quickly just walk you through what actually happened with Rune. So Rune is a cross-chain swaps protocol. It's one of the best cross-chain swaps protocol. The only thing is that the genius team in Rune decided to put a lending and borrowing app in the protocol. The problem with the lending and borrowing app is that the lending and borrowing app actually creates liquidation risks and mismatch risks like a bank. And so that little addition to the protocol caused the protocol to actually become insolvent, believe it or not. And so now they got $200 million in debt. And what happened was, I was counting on the fact that they would restructure the debt, and that that while they restructure the debt, the protocol would actually continue farming blocks. The validators would actually continue in the network. And that's why I was so confident that someone says no sound. Hardest, is there sound? Can you just give me a thumbs up if there's sound? Yeah, there's sound. Okay. So I was counting on the fact that they would restructure the protocol, eliminate the debt, make the debt holders whole somehow, and we'll talk about that in a second. But at the same time, that the protocol would continue to produce blocks and continue to do cross-chain swaps. And that is why I was so confident that we would actually get a Rune recovery. But then on Saturday, the validators actually started to pull out of the network. And about 30% of the validators started to pull out of the network because the price went so low that it wasn't actually viable for them to actually continue to mine blocks on the network. And that was, for me, a very scary sign. I said that's when the risk return actually changed, because if the protocol stops producing blocks, if the protocol stops doing cross-chain swaps, then you're in a position where all the wallets that are integrated into it and that use it to do cross-chain swaps will actually stop using it because they think it's too risky. And so that was when the risk reward of the whole trade changed. And that is when the chart started to capitulate, because when people realized that even the validators, and remember, without the validators, you don't have a network. Even the validators started to get out of the network, right? And they lost about 30% of their validators. They had about 130 validators, And if you look at the network right now, this is a live read on the market. There's, I think, 87. It just refreshes. But the 87 validators, the 87 nodes, which are currently running. And so the network currently is running. A lot of people capitulated. A lot of people actually left. But the team seemed to have put together a proposal. So that the team seemed to have put together a proposal. And in that proposal, that proposal has actually been accepted, right? So the proposal, which passed, the Rune debt holders will get revenue until they get their money back in perpetuity, or they can just sell their tokens at a haircut. Whilst at the same time, the validators have continued to farm blocks in the network. And so right now, as it stands, the protocol continues, and there is a plan that is finally in place. Now, here's the question. The big question is, can Rune recover? So I think it can. Do I think it's risky? It is very, very risky. In fact, I'm the first person to admit if I'm wrong. I tweeted this and I said, I told you to buy Sol at 13. I told you to buy Curve at 0.2, and I'm telling you to buy Rune at 2.3. This morning, I then tweeted and I said, look, unlike some others, I'm going to be man enough to admit that this is not